and welcome to my September TBR. So in August, I had 22 books on my list. I got to 20 of them, as hopefully you saw in yesterday's wrap-up video. When I set out to make this TBR, I knew, okay, fully in school, so I'm going to need to cut down on the number, but I still want to be ambitious, and I have been able so far to read more. That's the benefit of having only one prep, teaching only one subject this year. And so I still want to be ambitious, so I put 12 books on the list. Now that has grown to 14 because I'm carrying over the 2 books that I did not get to in August. Now I may have started one of them by the time I get to this video. It just depends on when I finish that biography of Russia. So the 2 books that I'm carrying over from August are The Secret Daughter and Lady of the Rivers. So those are the 2. They're both adult fiction, and I'm carrying them over from August. Now each month I have books that 2 different types of books that I read about 4 pages a day, and those are a book in Spanish and also a book on becoming so anti-racist, anti-bias work, which this month fits perfectly. So I'll start with that one. So that one, since I finished Push Out last month, I just started this book, Start Here, Start Now, and it's by Liz Kleinrock. And I found out about this book because I started following Liz on Instagram last year after the George Floyd killing. And I have been challenged by the work that she puts up there, and challenged to do more than just take, challenged to actually do and become better. So I support her on Patreon, and I bought her book, and so far I'm only about 12 pages into it. So far it's really good. So that's that book for this month. And my book in Spanish that I started last month and probably will not finish this month, but I might, is A Wrinkle in Time, Una arruga en el tiempo, but it's a graphic novel. So it is going a lot better. The reading of it and my enjoyment of it is going a lot better than when I just read it normally. I'm not the biggest Madeleine L'Engle fan. It's just not my taste, but the illustrator, Hope Larson, has done an excellent job with the illustrations and the adaptation so far. So getting into the book specifically on the list for this month, I slightly goofed when checking them out or reserving them from the library and thought I just need them in time for September, but I forgot that I don't have time during the week to film videos, so I don't have all of them from the library yet. They should be coming in the next couple days. I do have 3 of them, so those are what I will start with. The first section that I'm going to talk about are some buddy reads that I'm going to participate in, and this will be my first time doing buddy reads. I've usually been a fairly solo reader, but I've become a huge fan of Murphy Napier, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she's a booktuber who I have found, followed, really enjoyed. I have signed up to be one of her Patreons, and as part of that they have Patreon buddy reads. So the 2 Patreon buddy reads for this month are The Jasmine Throne. It's a fantasy book, has 2 female protagonists. I've heard some people compare it to a Prince and the Pauper type idea, but not the switching of locations that you have in the Prince and the Pauper. But they both had to team up in some way to save a kingdom. Should be good, I hope. The second of the buddy reads, and I will admit that I didn't vote for Jasmine Throne. I voted for a different one just because I'm more bent towards historical fiction, but Jasmine Throne was my 3rd favorite of our choices. I did, however, vote for this one that I'm super excited to read, Raybearer, because I want to become exposed to more cultures. The cover looks stunning. It has been a little while since I read the synopsis, that's the word. It's been a little while since I've read the synopsis of this book, but I remember reading the synopsis and going, okay, yes, I definitely need to read this. Okay, so also over on Murphy's Discord, there's a reading challenge option, and you can go hard mode and try to make it fit different prompts. And so this month, I'll be honest, I've forgotten some of the details, but I do remember some of the books that I chose that fit into those prompts. And so one of them, I believe, is Raybearer, is what I'm having fit one of the challenge prompts. Honestly, I forget which one it was, but it's one of the three. The second one, I was trying to find one on my Goodreads to TBR because I'm still trying to get through all the books I added in 2012. I found one that matches, but not all of them. But I did find this one, and this is The Heart That Bleeds by Alma Guillermo Prieto, which is nonfiction, and it tells the story of Latin America in the 1990s. And from my limited knowledge of it and exposure to that time period, Latin America in the 1990s was extremely chaotic and dangerous. And so I'm really intrigued to get into this and discover more about it. This is one of the few times that I've actually purchased a book without having read it because my library didn't have it. So that also fits one of the reading challenge prompts. And then the third reading challenge prompt is a book on my Goodreads TBR that I added in 2012, and that is The Magic of Ordinary Days. And I realized when I was looking this up that I have seen the movie, the Hallmark movie. I'm not a huge fan of Hallmark movies. They're not the strongest narratively. However, this one I did enjoy. It had Skeet Ulrich and Carrie Russell in it. And it's based on this book. So this book crosses off one of those 2012 books. Now, the rest of the books for this list, I am going to have to add an image over here since I don't have the physical copies from the library yet. So I'm not going to give detailed summaries about these books simply because I'll talk about them in the wrap-up videos that I'm not going to give detailed summaries about the rest of these books simply because I will talk about the more in detail in the wrap-up video, which I do try to film my thoughts about each book shortly after I read it and then put all of those clips together. So I'm just going to quickly go through the remaining, I believe it's 8 books on my list. 4 of those 8 books are written by Linda Sue Park, and those books are Keeping Score, Project Mulberry, When My Name Was Kyoto, and Kite Fighters. So those are the 4 by Linda Sue Park. I believe that Linda Sue Park wrote or writes mainly middle grades fiction. So those will be a little bit quicker to get through. And then I have one other, I believe it's middle grades fiction as well, and that's The Grim Legacy by Polly Schulman. And this probably brings in, it's grim with 2 M's, so probably has something to do with fairy tales. Again, I added these books to my Goodreads TBR 11 years ago, so I'm not 100% sure why I added them. So far, I've been like, oh, those are okay. Hopefully I'll start getting some gems pretty soon. Then I have 3 historical books. One could be considered middle grades or young adult historical, and that is Anne Frank, Beyond the Diary, A Photo Remembrance. I love the idea of having those real life photographs. I love photo essays. The image can bring the words alive. So I'm intrigued to see how this handles Anne Frank's diary and the events that went on in there. And then the other 2 are adult historical, and those are How Rome Fell by Adrian Goldsworthy and The Map That Changed the World by Simon Winchester. I've read several books by Simon Winchester. He reliably puts together a faithful narrative, fairly interesting. So I don't think that one will be long or difficult to get through. Have to see when the How the Rome Fell book comes in, how big that is, and whether or not I'm able to get through it. So all in all, those are the 14 books that I have on my list for this month, in addition to the 2 books that I probably will still be reading throughout the month. I look forward to this journey and seeing if hopefully I'll have a better month's reading experience than I did in August.